Cesar, for many years in Australia teaching sherry with you when you came to Australia, with Marcelino, etc., we focused for a long time on the velo de flor, so the life under the veil of yeast up here in a slightly empty barrel con vacío with an emptiness of 10 to 30% depending on the bodega and what they want to do. So for a long time we focused on life under the velo de flor, which is talking about live yeast. So we're talking about quite perfumed, floral, chamomile kinds of characters from the yeast that live here. And in the last video we shot, Cesar was talking much more about the energy that comes from the bottom of the barrel, and particularly these days when we see so many more finos and rama, unfiltered finos. If we don't filter the wine, we taste the bottom of the barrel more. This is where we have something we call the cabezuelas, which are the spent yeast, the dead yeast, and they add this creamy, earthy, and gastronomically bitter character back to the wine, which takes, so if we just concentrate on the top half of the barrel, maybe we're thinking about a thin wine with a taste of chamomile on it. Mm-hmm. If we bring all of the bottom of the barrel in, then we've got creaminess, earthiness, and bitterness as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we think on the floor, on that veil, we have to think of millions of microorganisms. I mean, it's a colony of yeast, a colony of microorganisms. So they're being born and they're dying. And as they're being born, I mean, the new ones will stay covering the, floating on the surface of the wine. But those dying will come down to the and create a deposit. And we never clean the barrels. I mean, in fact, we don't move the barrels unless they need to be repaired, and that just occasionally they will be taken out, and what we call a bridge will be built so that we can extract the barrels and take them to the cooperage. But in normal course of things, we never move the barrels. And one of the reasons for not moving the barrels is not to destroy that incredible deposit that is formed here after years and years and years. And the beautiful thing about this deposit is that by hydrolysis, it goes back into the wine, right? So, and it's that balance between the characteristics that the flor confer to the wine and those that the cabezuelas confer. It's a balance. You described it very well, because up here, the floor is kind of making the wine thinner, right? Because it's about reducing the dry extract. It's consuming glycerol, it's consuming acetic acid, it's consuming ethanol, it's consuming residual sugar, it's consuming anything that would give boldness to the wine. That down here is right the opposite. It's giving creaminess. It's giving that. There's an expression that we always use in here in Jerez. When a fino is properly aged, we always say it's got a mantecoso taste, right? Mantecoso
Buttery.
Means buttery, correct? So it's that balance between something that is sharp, dry, really savory in your palate, and that mouthfeel that you get. You need a solidly aged fino for that. You don't get that with a 2-3 year old fino. Not at all. No way, right? It's got to be a fino that's been seriously aged 5, 6, 7 years onwards, and then you will get that beautiful combination between the very live, the very vibrant touch of very alive flor, and that subtle nuance, those subtle nuances coming from the dead flor.
And we're seeing so much more of this now. Like you're seeing, so we're starting to see wines labelled as Palmas and Dos Palmas, which just means good fino and perfectly fully ripened fino before it goes to Amontillado. In the market now, we've got so many wines with different levels of complexity and richness and age, all the way up to things like La Paneza, which is a 15-year-old fino. So you can taste, very, very simple 2-3-year-old commercial finos through 5, 6, 8, 10, even 15-year-old ones that are still classified as phenos, not yet amontillados, and it's the interrelation between the top and the bottom of the barrel, the yeast two ways.
And also, Scott, I mean, we speak about floor, we talk about floor, but the floor is very different here, 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 and there. I mean, it's very different. Even morphologically, it looks different. In young wines, in the upper criaderas, there's a lot of nutrients. So the floor is thicker, it's more, more alive, it's acting on the wine, it's really putting pressure on the wine, it's really making the wine thinner every single week. Whereas here, we have an old floor. So it affects the wine differently. It doesn't have the capacity to prevent the oxidation, but it's given some of the nuances in collaboration with the cabezuelas. Right? So floor is not always the same thing. In fact, and winemakers know that, I mean, it might vary between this barrel and this barrel. I mean, every barrel is a kind of microcosmos, right? And floor plays a very important role. And as I said, it's a different thing depending on where are we looking at.